everybody, dear students. So wherever you are, I hope that you are really safe. Stay at home and follow us. We are here for you in order for you to be at home safe, okay? So my name is Rizlan Elshul and I am a teacher of English. Today, I'll be presenting some classes, okay, starting from Unit 7 to Unit 10. But today, especially, I'm going to present you Unit 8 of Common Core, you see, which is concerned about science and technology. So all the students of Visa to the World are welcome in this class. So of course, as I said, we have technology and science. The whole world has advanced in technology and science, and we have to know a lot of words that are related to this domain, okay? So as you see over here, we have some pictures that are related to science and technology in general. We have the human brain that has over the years invented a lot of useful inventions, okay? We cannot deny this. We have a scientist, so we're gonna move on to this later on. We've got labs, which is short for laboratories in which we conduct scientific researches. We have a laptop, okay, and we have some other technical devices. So let's move on. So in this exercise, I'd like you to match the electronic devices with their names. Of course, when we say the word device, we can say, for example, a mobile phone is a device. A calculator is a device. So all of these are devices. So I'd like you to match them along with their names. And I give you just a few seconds to reflect on the exercise, please. So to correct, the first one is pen drive. A lot of people say flash drive, a lot of people say USB, okay? So you're free to choose any word you want. So it's a pen drive. So whenever I say a word, try to repeat it after me. This way you will learn how to pronounce the word correctly. The first one is pen drive. Repeat, pen drive. The second one is laboratory. This is a laboratory. When we have, it's the place where we have scientific research. The third one is scanner. So this is a scanner. Repeat, scanner. And the third one, normally they are just switched, no problem. So this one is a laptop, okay? It's a laptop. We name other electronic devices. Do you know the name of this device? It's a dishwasher. Repeat, dishwasher. Of course, this is not. It's more concerning. It's more concerned with science than technology, and this is what we are all afraid of nowadays. This is a virus. Okay, it's a virus. Repeat, virus. These are like most teenagers use them nowadays. Okay, we call them headphones. In English, they are headphones. And of course, do you know this picture? It's a satellite, all right? Repeat. Dishwasher, virus, headphones, and satellite. Now move on. I already told you that we were gonna move on to this picture later on, and that's the time for this picture. Do you know this woman? This woman is considered to be one of the most important scientists in the whole world. You're going to discover why, because we have a conversation in which two people are explaining why this woman is really very important in the field of science. So her name is Marie Curie, all right? I'm sure that most of you know her since you have studied in other subjects. So her name is Marie Curie. Now please, I'd like you to note down these questions because you're going to have a conversation and you have to answer these questions by saying whether they are true or false, and you are asked to justify the false sentences. So I give you a few seconds to write down these examples. So have you written all of these questions? Now it's time to move on to the conversation. Let's read the conversation all together. So it's a conversation between Steve and Chris, and it's about, of course, as we mentioned earlier, it's about Marie Curie, the scientist. So listen to me very carefully. Try to answer the questions. At the same time, pick the right pronunciation of the words. You're studying for the test, aren't you? No, I'm not. I'm just reading about some great scientists. Oh, that's interesting. Do you know Marie Curie? The physicist. Yes, I know her. She was French, wasn't she? No, she wasn't. Her husband was. Where was she from? She was from Poland. But she married and lived in France, didn't she? Yes, she did. She was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize. I know, she won the Physics Nobel Prize in 1903. Yes, and 8 years later, she won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. She was a great scientist, wasn't she? Yes, thanks to her, cancer can be cured today. So this is the conversation. So let's go back again to the questions and answer them. So the first one says, Marie Curie was French. So was she French? You already read the conversation and now you've got the answer. So the answer is false. Marie Curie was from Poland. Okay, she wasn't from France. The second one, her husband was French. Yes, true. Her husband was French and she lived with him in France. Number 3, she won the Nobel Prize in 1911. Do you think that this information is true or false? Of course, it's true. Yes, she won the Nobel Prize 8 years later in chemistry. The first Nobel Prize was in 1903, and 8 years later she won another Nobel Prize in chemistry. So if you add 1903 plus to 8, it gives us 1911. Okay, so that's yes. Here I just want to highlight some questions that will help me go to the grammar lesson. Okay, so here, aren't you? You're studying for the test, aren't you? The physicist. Yes, I know her. She was French, wasn't she? But she married and lived in France, didn't she? She was a great scientist, wasn't she? Of course, maybe you have read this in one of the texts, but you never had it as a lesson. And we also know that we have only 2 types of questions. That's a question, but we have only 2 types. So where does this come from? The 2 types of questions that we have are WH questions that starts in where, when, how much, why, whatever. And we've got yes or no questions. So when I ask you, for example, are you a teacher? Yes, I am. Are you happy? Yes, I am. You see, so these are yes or no question. So here comes the 3rd type of questions, which we call tag questions or question tags. Okay? So question tags. We can add question tags like isn't it, can you, or didn't they to a statement to make it into a question. Why do we use question tags? What is the importance of using question tags? We often use question tags when we expect the listener in general to agree or disagree with our statements. I don't want you to answer my question. When I use a question tag, I want you to say whether it's true or not, whether you agree or you disagree with my opinion. This is the importance of using question tags. And so now we come to the form, how we can form question tags. So in this case, when the statement is positive, we use a negative question tag, and vice versa. It means when the statement is negative, we use a positive question tag. Let's have a look up here. Sarah is a doctor. So this sentence is positive. That's why we put it into the negative form. By the way, for question tags, we put in the place of the question tag only modal verb, and you have already seen modal verbs and auxiliary verbs along with the verb to be. So is becomes isn't, and we replace Sarah with she, because you cannot say isn't Sarah. Here we're gonna have repetition. So in order to avoid repetition, we replace Sarah with she. The second example, yesterday wasn't so much fun. As you see over here, the sentence is in the negative form. We replace yesterday with it, and we replace wasn't with was, because as we said earlier, the negative form becomes positive. In the last example, you've got a modal verb which is can or can't, okay? And you've got other modal verbs that have the same form over here. So you can't play soccer, that's negative. The negative becomes positive, and we keep the same pronoun, okay? I hope you have understood the use and the form of question tags. Now move on to practice. Before the practice, we have an exceptional case. Normally speaking, we have a lot of exceptions, but the most important one is this one. I included only one in order not to just overload you with a lot of information. So I am Moroccan. What do you think the question tag would be here? Normally speaking, according to my explanation, you would say I'm not I, okay? But it sounds awkward, very heavy. We cannot say it easily, you see? That's why we have it's considered as an exception. So we say I am Moroccan, aren't I? So whenever you have I am, it becomes aren't I. So here comes the time for the practice. So, for the first exercise, I'd like you to match each sentence with the right question tag. Correction. So for the first one, we have the word shouldn't, it becomes should, and we have you. So you shouldn't answer all the questions, should you? The second one, you didn't tell him the truth. When the sentence is in the negative form, it's easier for you to form the question tag. So John didn't tell him the truth. So we have didn't, it becomes did. And John, we replace it with he. So this is the answer of example 2. Example 3 here. My uncle will travel tomorrow. Here we have will. It's a modal verb too, but it's an indication of the future. So we have will and we have my uncle. Of course, we're going to replace my uncle with he, and then we're going to put will in the negative form. And the negative form is will not. So we put it into the contraction form. It becomes won't he. By the way, here we cannot have the full form. We have only the short form. Every time you cannot say is not she, isn't she. For the for example, Selma speaks German. That's a verb in the simple present form. So the negative form of speaks is doesn't speak. So we use doesn't, which is the auxiliary verb, and we replace Selma with the she. So it becomes doesn't she. For number 5, John can't carry this heavy box. We replace John with he and can't with can. It becomes can he. And for the last example, and this is the exception we talked about, I am speaking English now, and the answer is aren't I, as in the exception, of course. Now it's your turn now to answer these questions, to do this exercise, please. You fill in the blanks along with the right question tag. So answers. Mr. McGuinness is from Ireland, isn't he? The car isn't in the garage, is it? You are John, aren't you? She went to the library yesterday, didn't she? Because the negative form of went is didn't go. He did not recognize me, did he? Cars pollute the environment. Don't they? The negative form of pollute is don't pollute, and cars is replaced with they, because they here replaces animals, objects, people, whatever. Number 7. Mrs. Pritchard can be in Scotland now, can't she? 8. The trip is very expensive, isn't it? He won't tell you. Here, he won't, it's he will not. So we remove the negation, all right? And we are left with will he. And the last example, of course, you and his brother had a red car, didn't they? Because here we have two people, you and his brother. So, for the writing today, that is part of Unit 8, which is concerned about science and technology. We're going to see how to form, how to write a complete email. Of course, now you know, with the advance of technology nowadays, people rarely write letters, and instead they prefer to write emails in order to communicate with one another. It's easier, it's more practical. So here is the form of writing a personal. Here I've chosen just a personal email. It means an email that you can send only to your friend or pen pal, a person who lives, like, for example, in the United States or in England, all right? So how to write him or her an email. So the first one is the from. So you write here your email, whether you have a Gmail, Hotmail, whatever. The next section is to. You write your friend's email. Third, we have the date. In English, of course, as you know, we start with the month first and then we have the day. So we say September 13th or April 2nd, whatever. Then you have the topic. If you write, for example, the email to your friend about last holiday, so you write last holiday. If you write about Moroccan food, so you write as a title Moroccan food, in order to make it easier for the one who receives your email to know what the email is about, of course. Then you have the greeting. Of course, you can write hi, because it's just personal, informal, you see. You can write hi Shannon, dear James, dear Ali, you see, so whatever you want to choose, no problem. Of course, then comes the message, okay? And when you finish, you close it with the end. You can write bye, as mentioned here. You can write your best friend and you write your name. You can write, for example, with love, my best wishes, of course, because since it's just informal. So these are the steps of writing a personal, informal email. Now, as homework, I'd like you to write me a personal email, respecting the steps that follow over here. Write an email to your friend describing where you went last holiday. Imagine, for example, you traveled to a place, Marrakesh, Agadir, Paris, whatever. So you write an email with the purpose of describing this place for your friend and encouraging him or her to visit that place. Don't forget to respect the steps of writing an email, as I mentioned earlier. These ideas may help you just to organize your email and the message of your email. Where did you go? How long did you stay there? Who did you go with? What activities did you do? And what did you like best about the trip? You can add, you can eliminate, no problem, but you write me a complete email describing your last holiday. Finally, good luck, stay at home and stay safe.